And welcome back. It was day 2 of the SDGA Men's Amateur and Women's Golf Championship, and day 1 belonged to Will Grevlos and Katie Bartlett, and today was more of the same. Grevlos entered today as the top dog, and that doesn't mean he didn't have to fight for his spot. On hole 10, current ISU Cyclone Bryce Hammer is trying to add a birdie to his day. That one goes just wide, and Hammer would try to make a run for the top spot, but struggled on the back 9, falling to 24th. But Grevlos played like no one was watching, taking a birdie on hole 11, and he wasn't showing any signs of slowing down, and he would make a statement on the next hole, picking up another birdie for the back-to-back. Like a Drake song, Grevlos would finish 2 under on the day and 5 under overall, still sitting in first place. Another guy eyeing the top spot was Mitchell's Brandon Sigmund, grabbing a birdie on hole 12, and he finished today tied for 4th. And on the women's side, we had a SDSU and USD rivalry for the top spot. Former Jackrabbit Maggie Murphy is making a run, and she would look for the birdie on 12, leaves it less than an inch from the hole, but that's enough to keep pace with the leader. But former Coyote Katie Bartlett would try and hold her off, looking for a birdie putt on hole 14, but she misses it just wide and settles for par. Bartlett would finish on the top spot for the day at 8 over, and Murphy finished 7 strokes back of the lead, tied for 5th. A couple of groups behind them, current Jackrabbit Sydney Wirebaugh looking to grab her own birdie on 14, but misses just wide. That hole on 14 is kind of tricky, and Wirebaugh would finish 4th and looking for a run of her own. Current Knight Shannon McCormick finding a rare birdie on today on hole 16, and she would jump into a tie for 7th, although Bartlett is still in the lead and will lead the rest of the field. As we look at the leaderboards, Bartlett is the leader by 2 strokes. Julie Jansa is not far behind her. Wirebaugh is just 5 stroke backs of the lead. And with it being so close, tomorrow should be a really good final round for the women's, and it's going to be a really good final round for the men as well. Will Grevlos is in the lead by 2 strokes, but 6 players are within 5 strokes with the final round tomorrow. Both of these should be a great finish. And the State Amateur B baseball tournament continued today, but with games being postponed last night due to weather, there were 6 games today instead of 4. The first game of the day was between South Central and Northville, and you want to talk about instant offense. In the first inning, South Central's Blake Hoffman hits the equivalent of a bunt that allows 1 runner to score, and there's a wild pitch to first, allowing another run to score. South Central leads 2-0. Then we turn to the bottom of the first. Northville already scored a run on a walk, and then with the bases loaded, Ethan Byers drops one into the gap. 3 runs would score, and Northville leads 4-2. Still in the bottom of the first, bases are loaded again, and Cody LaForge sends one past the first baseman. 2 more score. Northville scores 7 runs total in the first inning as they go on to win in a shootout 18-11. And Clark was able to defeat Redfield 3-2 today, and Clark's pitcher Zach Tobin pitched a complete game. And for our games that got postponed and canceled last night, they played at Drake Field. Minnow defeated Clear Lake 10-0, and Garrison shut out Groton 15-0. And as we move to some more games that are going on right now and later on tonight, Canova and Akron are battling right now. Canova leads 1-0 in the top of the 4th, and Flandreau and Freeman are going to be doing battle at 7:30 tonight. And then for the Central Plains, that is right here at the Birdcage in Sioux Falls, Renner fell short of making it to championship Sunday today as they lost to Excelsior 12-2. They were mercy ruled in the 5th. They are now eliminated from the tournament, and we will have highlights of that game at 10. And the Vikings were taking on the Saints in the first game of their preseason last night. Most of the starters played in this one as Vikings' Kirk Cousins finds Alexander Madison for the Vikings' first touchdown of the preseason. Vikings lead 7-0. Late in the second quarter, Vikings lead 14-6, but former Vikings QB Teddy Bridgewater threads the needle to Dan Arnold, who reaches out and stretches for the touchdown. Saints only down 2 going into halftime. Then some good fortune for the Vikings. Nate Meters finds an early Christmas present as he runs the interception back for the 30-yard touchdown. Vikings would score 20 points in the second half, and they go on to win by the score of 34 30-25. And Kirk Cousins, he had a great game in this one, 4 for 4 with a TD pass, and Bridgewater, of course, had to get revenge on his old team, throwing a TD pass up for himself. And the Vikings are going to take on the Seattle Seahawks next Sunday. And the Augustana softball team took over Target Field last night as the Twins recognized the team for winning their second softball national championship. Head coach Greta Melstead was bestowed with the honor of throwing out the first pitch, which came with some perks like having her own Twins jersey and an official Major League Baseball. And Melstead said she was training for a solo moment on the mound for quite a while.
You know, for the last, 4 months, I've been throwing every single day. No, I haven't done anything except for I threw yesterday off the mound on that little video, and that's about it.
And you guys be the judge with me because she had a pretty good pitch. It was about a 8 out of 10, but she couldn't help the Twins last night as they are in a tie for the first place in the AL Central, and that game is going to go on tonight for sole possession of first place. And that's going to do it for sports. We'll be back in a little bit.